9th of November 2023. This is another Warrafak moment. As I've said previously, my life is faced with a tsunami of Warrafak moments, and this is one that is specifically aimed at the black people. And if you are a supporter of the channel, I would appreciate it if you share the shit out of this thing and try and get it into the black groups and black communities, because they have got a major problem. They are being whipped into a frenzy with narratives that is baseless and not supported by facts. But it is narratives that achieves the goal of whipping the people into a irrational frenzy. And in that frenzy, they do whatever these, let's call it leaders, want them to do, without thinking about the consequences for one moment, without questioning the validity of the inspiration. Let's look at the government. What you black people need to sit down, calm your nerves, and talk to one another and discuss the following. How did the apartheid government, with a small, much smaller tax base than what there is today, how did they manage to build all the infrastructure they did build? And you cannot deny that fact, because the fucking roads and rails and things are there for you to see. You are using it. They built the best rail network in the Southern Hemisphere. Not in Africa, in the Southern Hemisphere. They built an excellent road network, the best in Africa. They built schools, thousands of classrooms for blacks, something like 45 classrooms per day. Classrooms per day. This government of yours cannot even build 45 schools in a year. They cannot. And they don't do it. And they don't do maintenance on this stuff. How did the apartheid government build the industrial base? The industrial base that made it possible for the private sector to expand and grow that industrial base. How did they do that? How did they manage to provide the education services that they did provide? How did they manage to provide the health services that they did provide? During the height of the apartheid regime, there was almost no private hospitals, because the best doctors and the best equipment and the best service and the best brains and the best hands were in the state hospitals. Let that fucking sink in. But you are sitting here on Twitter and tweeting and shouting out your cuck without knowing the facts, because you did not live in those years. You were not even born. And here comes the kicker. They did all of that from a small, largely white tax base, without borrowing the country into bankruptcy, operating under severe sanctions, but yet they managed to build the country up. Ask yourself, how the fuck did they do that? I'm not going to give you the answer. You must figure that answer out for yourself. Then let's look at this fucking stupidity that you blacks, you allowed it. The evil cabal planted a nuclear bomb in your community, in your midst, and you are taking care of that bomb. you are making that bomb bigger every day. What am I talking about? The SASSA baby grant. That SASSA generation has been bred for a purpose. They've got a few applications, of which creating chaos is one application. But their main mission and their design is to destroy your community, to destroy your nation. That is what that baby grant is doing. It is like a nuclear bomb in your society. And you're too fucking stupid to realize how dangerous that thing is. Just look around and see that SASSA generation has zero respect for your culture, for your black Ubuntu values, no respect for it. And their main leader is Julius Malema, a man that is not truly a South African. His undying love for the immigrants tells you that. He cares nothing for you. Nothing. He is only after the power. And that power drive is financed by evil people that don't give a fuck for you. But yet, you are willing to lay your life down to it. I mean, I'm in discussion with black people, and in some of them, and I must admit, it's a small minority, they absolutely idolize Malema. They have this fucking idea that Malema can save the country and turn the economy around. What makes them think that? Malema was part of the instruments to destroy the economic base. The economic base is destroyed. Look at what's going on at our harbors now. Just look at that. Shippers are now charging a layover charge. The first time in history that it happens. And the only country in the world to which it is applied is South Africa. Why do they do that? Because their ships lies in front of the harbors, waiting up to 21 days to offload or to load. 21 days. That's longer than what a trip from China or from wherever they come takes. Why is that? Because the harbors are totally fucking dysfunctional. Why are they dysfunctional? The skills left. Many of those skills didn't just leave. Those skills were driven out. Driven out. A white engineer with a proper, decent degree or two behind him and 20 or 30 years of experience is just driven out and replaced with a cadre. A cadre that most probably bought his matric certificate online. And you think that cadre can manage what that white engineer did? Yes, you've got this illusion of superior logic and natural intelligence. You live in a fucking dream. Look at reality. Everything has collapsed. Infrastructure is gone. And as a bonus, the country has been bankrupt. So, doesn't matter who comes in next year as the new government. They will fail. First of all, they're not going to have money to make good on their promises. Secondly, the ANC will make the country ungovernable. Because that is what they are good at. Chaos and destruction. They took a perfectly operating economy, the best and the biggest one in Africa, and they fucked it up to zero in 30 years. Why? Because that is what they're good at, destruction. And you gullible youth, black youth, you must understand, very few of you will ever have a career. You cannot, because there's no more opportunities in the country. No more. The other problem is your education level is so dodgy that there's no country in the world that accepts education certificates from South Africa. No country accepts it. So that piece of paper is useless, worthless. It means nothing. Yeah, locally, you can bullshit yourself into positions with that piece of paper, because that position is also a bullshit position. But your problem is you allow narrative to drive you. You've got this shit about slavery. Some of you are so fucking stupid. You see employment as slavery. Now I've got good news for you. The unemployment rate is currently about 43%. So that means that you and your government has managed to free 43% of your people from slavery. But oh fuck, what are they doing now for a living? Social grant. So instead of having a job where he gets a salary, where he feels like a man and he can look after his family, he is now standing like a beggar in the queue at the SASSA offices for 350 Rand a month, with which he cannot buy one meal a day for himself. What about his family? But you are too fucking stupid to look at it like that. All you want to see is no white employers, and you don't give a fuck about the employed. But I've got news for you. In your own society, the people are beginning to wake up, and they are beginning to ask the questions, and they are beginning to ask around, why are they losing their employment? The day that they realize that you are the terrorists that are destroying their employment opportunities with your racist shit, you as a black need to understand, because you know very well what is going to be your end. Once your own people, realize that it is you that is destroying their lives, that is the day that you're going to pray for white security, which you will not get, because the black justice is going to be brutal and fast. No long court cases. One tire, one box of matches, as Winnie Mandela said. That is what you're going to eat, because you are destroying your own nation. And I'm going to stop here. You ask yourself, how did the apartheid regime manage to build the country without bankrupting the country? And then you ask yourself, how did they do it? When you figure that out, the lights may go on in your head. But until that moment, you are in the hands of the malemas of this world, of this country. And your future is one of suffering no healthcare, no education, no job opportunities. That's your future. And the corrupt fuckers that you have voted in will sit on that switch to switch the SASSA on or off. Think about that. They've got you by the short hair and they're going to shake you. But you need to figure these things out for yourself. Before you so enthusiastically sing, kill the boer, kill the farmer. Before you listen to Malema and run into shopping malls and destroy shops. Before you run into the streets and loot. Before you run into the communities and burn your schools down. You must think about that. Your day is coming. Your own communities are going to fuck you up. And you're not going to get white man's justice. You're going to get tribal justice. And I wonder if you realize what it is. But, you know, the problem is, you SASSA generation, you don't even know who your own fucking tribe is. Most of you don't even know who your father is. You've got a more of a problem. And I don't know how you're going to sort it out for yourselves. One thing I know, your own people are going to fuck you up. Please, give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. And I say again, share the thing like hell. Thank you.